JUPiter is a brand new cryptocurrency token that could go from 50 cents all the way to $16. In this video, I'm going to detail why Joop fits my thesis, how you could have qualified for an airdrop, how you can still qualify for future airdrops, the tokenomics, the value capture, and just about everything that you need to know. Like I said, brand new token. I'm bringing you this alpha and you press the buttons to support. Let's dive in. Jumping straight into the technicals on TradingView, the JUPiter token launched at the end of January, specifically January 31st, 2024 at 8 a.m. Since then, you can see quite the pump up with the initial dump following. I mean, what do you expect? It's an airdrop token, right? People literally got given over $400 million worth of tokens for free. Of course, people are going to sell. It's just the way it works. There has been a series of lower highs that we have been watching quite closely on the streams. And honestly, I think Joop has yet to find a bottom. I think somewhere between 45 and 50 cents is where it'll kind of find support. But there's an interesting dilemma regarding the liquidity that the Joop team added that is actually suppressing the price. Quick disclaimer, because I think it's important, the JUPiter token airdropped me over $5,000 worth of their token. I have sold zero, and frankly, I have only bought more. I am a long-term believer in the JUPiter thesis and firmly believe that if Solana is going to flip Ethereum, like I've detailed in other videos, JUPiter is going to be the best and most adopted decentralized application in the ecosystem. When a decentralized token launches, it needs a lot of liquidity, especially if there's going to be an airdrop, because a lot of people are going to sell and remove that dollar liquidity. The Joop team accounted for this and added what is called banded liquidity. They expected the price to be around 50 cents, so they added heavy liquidity at 60 cents, heavy liquidity at 40 cents to keep the price more stable during this launch. Right? If everyone just unloaded a clip of Joop and it sunk down without banded liquidity, the price would drop. Before the Joop launch, they talked about how they're going to be tapering liquidity over time from the DEX pool into other more efficient pools. The banded liquidity is very inefficient, but it is great for launches. Quick interruption to remind you that we have a Discord community, discord.gg/learn-to-earn, where there is loads of free resources. There's PDFs, there's videos, there's trading bots, there's trade trackers, everything that you might need to master the crypto markets. And I do not charge a single penny for anything that I do. There was tons of FUD circulating saying the Joop team was rug pulling the token by removing liquidity, but it is very important to remember that removing liquidity from a DEX pairing has zero impact on price. They are going to be removing, I believe, $10 million of liquidity every week until that liquidity band is gone. And at that point in time, each time the JUPiter liquidity is removed, in theory, it becomes easier to push up the price. Now that you have a better understanding of the Joop launch, the Joop airdrop, and kind of what's happened since its meteoric launch, let's talk about a price prediction, which is probably the reason that you are here. Like we talked about, Joop currently trading with a market cap of around 680 billion and a price of 50 cents. Just a quick disclaimer, you can trade it just about anywhere: Binance, Bybit, BingX, KuCoin, Gate.io. There's literally 12 pages of exchanges, and frankly, you can get it just about anywhere. The JUPiter market cap is 680 million. What I think is a great comparison, we'll get to later why this is a great comparison, is looking at Uniswap. So Uniswap last bull market had an all-time high market cap of $22 billion. So what we're going to do is we are going to pull up our handy dandy calculator with our clicky keyboard activated. We're going to take 22 because our base unit of denomination is billions of dollars. We're going to divide it by 0.680 because Joop has a market cap of 680 million. This gives us a multiplier of 32.35 times the current price of Joop at 50 cents to give us a price target of $16. But the burning question is that fair? Is that reasonable? Is that realistic? Personally, I think it's all of those, and this is on the lower end of what's possible in this bull run for Joop. So let me explain. Remember, I am not a financial advisor, and that is very rough back of the envelope math, but frankly, I think it has validity because not only is it a better product than Uniswap, it seems to be adopting at a much faster rate. Solana ecosystem has major momentum, and JUPiter is the single best product on it. We're now going to move on to important analytics about Joop functionality, what it does, and how it is outperforming every other DEX in DeFi. Jumping right into the Joop utility and I guess adoption component, there are 4 graphs that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to break down why Joop is the most adopted decentralized application, not only in the Solana network, but among all DEXs on all chains. Share of organic volume, bots removed, Solana DEX source. So this blue area is Jupiter. So it has a very large foothold in the Solana DEX ecosystem, and it is the largest by a very large margin. This is Jupiter versus DEXs on other chains, monthly active users. So Jupiter has larger monthly active users than PancakeSwap, than Uniswap, and this is for the month of January. So as you can see, not only is Jupiter the largest DEX on Solana, it has the most amount of monthly active users of all decentralized exchanges. Solana program users for the last 30 days, standalone, Jupiter was the winner with the number of over 800,000. The next largest, I believe, by looking at the graph, was Swissborg. No, Liquidity, whatever that is. Adoption. The last graph that I want to go over is the Jupiter perps volume. So as you can see, they've had a very significant adoption curve of their Joop perps. Not only can you make DEX swaps on the Jupiter platform, you can also trade futures with up to 100x leverage all in the same place. Quick interruption to remind you that we have a Discord community, discord.gg/learn-to-earn, where there is loads of free resources. There's PDFs, there's videos, there's trading bots, there's trade trackers, everything that you might need to master the crypto markets. And I do not charge a single penny for anything that I do. One of the reasons I'm so bullish on Joop is not only is it a DEX token, it is a governance token. Normally that is completely fugazi, but in this instance, there are 2 really important points. Number 1, there is a lot of grants in the ecosystem for developers to bring innovative products into the Joop ecosystem, right? This is the Jupiter DAO. There's a lot of incentives to expand the ecosystem, and there's what is called the ecosystem working group. So essentially, Jupiter is not only a decentralized exchange, not only a perpetuals exchange, but there is a launch pad. They launched a meme token called When. I believe it was a week after the a week before the Jupiter token launched to test it out. And effectively, Jupiter Launchpad is going to be a crutch between a project's conceptualization and bringing it to market. By holding Joop, you will be eligible for airdrops in every single project that launches using the Jupiter Launchpad. Plain and simple. Another reason that I'm super bullish on the Joop token, although it being a decentralized token, is if you look at Uniswap, Osmosis, or PancakeSwap, those tokens are incentivization tokens. They exist to be sold, right? You take your ETH, you take your USDT, you deposit it into a Uniswap pool. Yes, you get fees, but you get paid in Uni. And so how does a hard-working yield farmer collect their premium? They sell it, right? Uniswap, PancakeSwap, Osmosis, and many other DEX tokens reward their users for their liquidity with their native token. That means I genuinely believe on a long enough time frame, those tokens will head to 0. Jupiter is different. You cannot provide liquidity to the Jupiter DEX. It is simply an interface that connects to all the other liquidity pools in Jupiter. It is impossible to be paid in Joop for providing liquidity, and that is what makes Jupiter different. And so now you have a better understanding of the Jupiter value capture, what it is and why it does it. Let's talk about the tokenomics, the larger ecosystem, and how you can still qualify for future rounds of Joop airdrops. In order to qualify for the initial Jupiter airdrop, all you had to do was trade more than $1,000 worth of volume on the Jupiter DEX, right? You could trade into shitcoins, you could trade out of shitcoins, you could literally just trade your Solana for USDC, trade your USDC for Solana all the way up to $1,000, and you would have qualified for 200 Joop. There is going to be 3 more airdrops, and if I had to guess, my best guess would be use the application, right? You can set limit orders on Joop. No other DEX really offers that. You can do a DCA strategy. You want to buy X amount on Y time frame for Z days, right? You can bridge, you can transfer assets to Solana. They have a native bridge. You can use the wormhole bridge, and they also have a perpetual section where you can trade up to 100x leverage on, I believe it is Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. Further, if you want to provide liquidity to the Jupiter perps, which is basically more or less the same as being a market maker, right? Because they take your liquidity and they counter trade people. market making, you can earn up to 160% APY on your contribution. That being said, it is pretty hard to get in. There's an assets under management limit of 130 million. Current TVL is 130,486,516. So as you can see, it is oversubscribed. But in the world where you see the AUM is lower than the total assets allocated, you could get in. I've already talked about the airdrop, but just to zoom in on tokenomics, there was 10 billion Joop minted, 5 billion went to the team, a lot of that was provided in liquidity provision, 5 billion went to the community, but only 1 billion was airdropped initially, 500 million for community needs. So I believe that leaves 3.5 billion for the remaining 3 airdrops. So be sure, use the decentralized application, test out all the new features, and you will qualify for future airdrops. It is a 50-50 token. Team owns 50, community owns 50. How many other projects do you think are structured like that? If you're feeling that burning FOMO in your chest, settle it down. If you had been tuning into these daily TikTok lives that we do, you would have already known about Joop long before its launch. So please check out those lives. I'll see you there because that is where I spoon feed my community alpha. This is another graphic worth going over, right? 50% managed to team, 20% for current team members, 20% for strategic reserve. That's part of the DAO, 10% for liquidity provision, right? They had to fund DEXs, they had to fund centralized exchanges and get that liquidity out for a seamless launch. There's 50% distributed to the community, 40% 4 rounds of airdrops, 10% to contributors and grants. So that reaffirms our idea that there's going to be 3.5 million more Joop airdropped to their community. So what are you waiting for? And so after watching this video, my question to you, are you bullish on Joop? Are you buying Joop? Are you selling Joop? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for taking your time and sticking around until the end. I appreciate it.